Now, so it's going to set the stage for what you're going to see today. So you've got obviously the Microsoft Dynamics 365 environment. So you have sales, marketing, customer service. On the left, you've got finance and operations and business centrals as the ERP systems. We're going to add the Cincom product to the sales module. So what that does, Cincom and their CPQ is not an add-on where you have to worry about integration, where you have to worry about data going back and forth. It's baked into the system, and Sergey is going to show you that later on. So that's why we like and really promoting this solution. A lot of our clients are looking for a one-stop shop through Microsoft and through Microsoft Stack, and Cincom is a perfect addition to be able to do CPQ, configure, price, quote, in the Microsoft Dynamics platform in a seamless way. So today, we're going to show Cincom product on the sales module, and we're going to focus on Business Central, one of Microsoft's leading ERP systems. So what we're showing today can apply to three different scenarios. You can have configured to quote in an assemble to order environment. You can have configured to quote in a make to order environment. And finally, you can have configured to quote and order from a manufacturer in the context of a reseller. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Oliver will talk about the ERP system. So Business Central supports manufacturing. So the two other scenarios are supported in the solution we're showing. But from a perspective of the time we have available, we're going to focus on this one here for today. So that's enough for intros. I'm going to pass it on to Sergey, who's now going to take us through that whole solution. So Sergey.
Awesome, thank you. Let me go ahead and grab control here and I'll share my screen.
We can see it. You're good to go. Oh, that's your email.
Oh, let's not do that. Let's go back over here. No worries.
There you go.
Okay.
Good to go.
All right. So thanks. And again, very happy to be here. Wonderful to work with the team at CRM Dynamics as well as our peers here at Cincom. Very excited to show kind of this quote to cash experience in our iteration through 25 years experience with the CPQ space, really defining forward thinking and helping customers create the best business experience, for highly configurable manufactured products and other types of services and solutions. Now, I'm going to put my hat on, as Pierre mentioned, in the example of a salesperson working with a customer, and we're going to go through a simple example and showcase some of the guided selling as well as the document proposal elements. So I have one here, just starting my day as a typical salesperson. I'm trying to get deals on the books. We're early in the month, so that means that my quote has reset, and I should be looking to get some more revenue coming in for the business. I have one here that I'm working with, and as we progress through this, what I like to call it just at the very top, and as we get into this quote, is you start seeing the benefits of CPQSync as it's a seamless addition into the Dynamics workspace. So at the very top of the screen here, you're going to see a configure quote and generate proposal. These two features and buttons are directly integrated components of our ISV or independent software vendor contribution to the Microsoft workspace. So through the Dynamics marketplace, we can plug this in and offer an extension and enrich the experience for folks that need this kind of guided selling, highly configurable experience, and in this example for the manufactured product. Now I'll go and start and work with this customer, and we'll dive through what that experience can look like. So the first thing we're going to see is a catalog of services. These are different products and features that would be presented in your portfolio, for the reseller. And I'm going to go ahead and maximize this real quick just to get a better view and visibility of what I'm presenting here. And remember, this is all responsive, so it works through the traditional experience through Microsoft. So if I was using this on my tablet or a smartphone, I can consume that experience from anywhere. This particular example has a lot of different wide range of components. We're going to focus on a manufacturer item, in this example, an air compressor. But in other scenarios, as Pierre alluded to, the solution CPQSync is well suited to manage services, solutions, and not just tangible products. So somewhere in the mix, it really can be utilized like a Swiss Army knife to accomplish a lot of different business tasks. In starting out the experience, I'm working with the customer again. I'm trying to help figure out where they're at in their buying process, traditional sales steps, but also begin, pretty typical questions to determine what exactly the customer is going to be using this product for, so I can land on the right solution of the product here. So what we have here is basically a hide reveal functionality around the beginning of a guided sale. So basically I'm presented a question of what the use case is for. Our products are used for a lot of different scenarios. And if I am able to determine that the machine shop is the best fit for the product the customer is looking at today, what happens is that we are able to filter out a listing of products that are the best fit for that scenario, and one of which is identified either from internally, we need to sell more of these, or this is ultimately the best fit all up. One indicated with a little light bulb saying the DG series compressor is the best fit for this application. I'll go ahead and select that. This helps me stay really tight as far as positioning the right products. And I'm also in the same single pane of glass experience. As I add this to the cart, you'll see that we had a visual representation of a card of the compressor itself. And I'll move this over to a line item. This is your traditional top level pricing. And I can make some changes here. Now, I could actually transition from here, take this directly on over and create a budgetary estimate. But today we're gonna walk through the rest of the configuration and go through kind of a full sales cycle. So the next steps that happen is basically walking through a series of configurations and other types of questions that could be asked to kind of make sure we land on the right products and services. I'm going to skip over, kind of look, touch, and feel, but get more to the items that are going to be more complex that historically would rely on me as a salesperson to reach out to disparate tools or actually tribal knowledge from other folks in the organization. And one of which is here around the warranty. Now, keep in mind when we're talking about these features and functions, it's more than just the example of the warranty. It's more the function that I'm going to show here. So this is basically, again, another hide and reveal functionality. So in selecting warranty, talking to the customer about this, I pitched it, they're interested. Now I have more selections to now present themselves. By default, we're looking at the warranty and the bronze selection. But if I'm able to change the hours of usage based on my questioning to the customer, I now produce a formula that's going to change the tiered output. And now I'm landing on a more appropriate configuration of a warranty gold. So this particular type of decision rule that happens could be used on a lot of different scenarios. In this example, we're using it for warranty, but you can actually use this for a lot of different types of functions related to the product and combined to the previous one I showed you. So these are all able to be layered on top of each other for enhanced functionality. And again, keeps me in the transaction. I'm not having to make a call, talk to one of my counterparts at headquarters, figuring out warranty. Sometimes that can be very complicated and time consuming, and I may not be up to speed on that, especially if I'm a new salesperson. So this keeps everybody tight across the sales organization and improves that speed, efficiency, and accuracy all up. The next one is really around technical features. I personally like this particular type of rule. This is what I'm going to show now is a constraint rule. And let's say I'm working with a customer and they are very, a lot of times these buyers, in the scenario of who's reaching out to us or trying to make these purchases is someone who's done this consistently. They have a lot of experience and they maybe have some strong opinions about what they want to purchase. So if they come to me and say, hey, Sergey, I got the single phase and I'm pretty sure it's 50 Hertz, that's all I want. I'm not going to, we're not going to go with any other route. If I make that selection and I fall into maybe the order taking and kind of go into the customer's pressure to make this particular selection, I'm indicated with a policy tip. It's actually telling me that that's not an available configuration. And this could be for a number of reasons. It could be outdated. We've made a change to our product portfolio, or it just really isn't a configurable output. The great thing about this, though, is I'm allowed to stop, make the correction, and put us back on track. It really improves the customer experience. It does improve the speed and efficiency, again, as I mentioned earlier. But this is going to stop me from sending over bad orders out to production, back to Oliver's team, things that aren't going to be, able to be executed or fulfilled. If I was going to do that, that's going to spin up a lot of other resources, managers, folks in those other teams, and cost a lot of money internally, just kind of working to remedy that and correct that situation. So I can quickly put this back on track, align it to the 60 Hertz, set apply, and now we can proceed. Now we're back to continuing the configuration. The last rule, really quick, I wanted to share is around relationship items. These are used in this scenario with accessories, and this works out real well. I've been in a scenario where I've had to, call and, just order some parts for a car, and working with the representative, they were very, confident they got all the right parts and everything was perfect. And I boxed out a little bit of time to do the work. When the parts came, it turned out that these parts were actually were all wrong. So it stopped me in my tracks. I really had a bad taste in my mouth working with this particular reseller, and it just didn't work out in my favor. So in this scenario, this is not Sergey on the weekend working on a side project on the car. This is an enterprise organization with large-scale air compressors, manufactured items, probably spanning across the the country. So if I'm trying to help the customer with an air hose, and I set them up with the wrong air hose, this could be catastrophic. This could create a lot of problems, damage the relationship with this customer, and probably really stifle a lot of upcoming money and revenue from future sales. However, with the relationship rule that's set in CPQSync, I can look at only items that fit the selected product. So these are all DG series related items. If I hit select, there's no sideways room for failure. This is only going to be the right product. So it keeps me right and tight and make sure to maintain the absolute highest level of customer experience for any of the products that we're configuring. So if I go ahead and add that, we can quickly now transition to look and see what everything looks like. I'll save this, and our pricing will come back again. But we're not done here. This customer's giving me a hard time. He's really talking to me about the types of motors, and he's beating me up on warranty. Took a hard time to get him to see the value there. So now he wants a discount. He says, Sergey, this sounds fantastic. I'm ready to make this purchase, but I really, I'm going to need 15% off to really sweeten this deal and go ahead and approve this transaction. So from my side, I have a top level pricing here, and we have some functionality. There's a lot of different pieces that you can use to change here. In our example today, I'm going to use it as a discount, but you could actually configure this as a margin uplift. You can add level of effort. There's lots of different formulas that can actually play out in this actually scenario here. But if I'm going to go ahead and just look at the discount perspective, at 15, I am automatically trigger a discount. Margins get presented here. So there's a formula that happens, and then we can see exactly what's happening in the transaction. I can save that. The other piece that's interesting here is because we have kind of checks and balances. So now we can pivot upon the workflow within Dynamics to make sure that we can loop in another resource to prove this, make sure Sergey's not just giving away free air compressors. So that really helps a lot, make sure we're consistent on our margin and revenue downstream. Now I'm going to minimize this so you can see we're really back into our same pane of glass in the Dynamics. We didn't actually go anywhere. This is all still in Dynamics moving forward. And the other piece that's interesting here is throughout the entire process, as I am building this out, I can, I'm actually collecting data on the back end. So the second part that we didn't get to yet was the generate proposal. And so this is actually going to capture and collect information based on the configuration in real time. So I'm not actually having to manually produce any documentation. Anybody out there that's had to done that, it's pretty painful, and also has a lot of room for error. We're not, as humans, are not always spot on perfect like our machine counterparts. So the generate proposal process can make very spot on documents and proposals. A couple examples here for this manufactured item is I could have initially sent out a budgetary estimate, very clean and simple, a lot of lightweight configuration, or we can do full document sets, such as the collections. So I can generate these proposals, it immediately spits it out down at the bottom, and if I come up to the top, I can see exactly this document set produced in real time. This happens immediately. There's no delay or changes, and it automatically pulls the information from Dynamics. So as you see, we have the customer information, my thank you letter to the customer, thanks for the business. You can please get back to me for more air compressors, tell your friends and family about my great work. We have watermarks that you can actually use. These are also very simply easy to craft, such as this is done from Word, and our generate document proposal application that married into the CPQSync allows you really a lot of customization and flexibility. On this particular example, we also included the bill of materials that's presented here in the documentation. So when the customer gets this, they can actually go through and see line item all the components and pricing that goes into making that product. And so this is really important to make sure that everything that was discussed is represented on the final purchase, so they can go ahead and proceed with the transaction. As I slide on down, you'll see the warranty display. And so remember, we talked about warranty. We also talked about an air hose. So this is a custom documentation that came out and produced on the back end behind the scenes seamlessly based on my actions on the front end. So we were talking about the 5-year warranty. We got 100 foot of air hose on that particular compressor. and then the rest of the boilerplate language there. And you can keep on going further. In the example we produced today, we had documentation regarding support services because warranty was in play. How do you reach out for services? What does that experience look like? What do you need to be prepared? And then sliding on down, you can do other documentation such as terms and conditions. This is very flexible based on the source environment. There's a lot of different ways you can craft this. This is a very light example, but I hope it helps articulate the power of the document generator in conjunction with the guided sales and enriched configuration there with CPQSync. Now I'm going to pause it here. Now next steps would activate the order and process on through to the next steps, which is going to pass it over to Oliver. And Oliver is going to show this transaction move downstream and complete the sales cycle.